Hey there. Right now we're taking a look at Dagger playing his open match on Gullywash against Tic Tac's team. Let's see how they do. So I imagine this team's pretty strong. Tic Tac's pretty sick, and I think Sal's on it too, and he's pretty good, and Blinky in the bunch. So getting up here immediately is really good, especially if your team took position early like this, so your Doberman did a good job getting up there early. Now what you want to do is, I probably would have ignored this demo man since he has the bottle available to him, but since you're on him anyway, you want to stop healing him when he's like 175, just because if you overheal him just above that, his buffs decay anyway, so it's a little bit of waste of heals. So you guys have a pretty sick mid. There's really no way they're gonna get in. The soldier jumped you, I think, and that's a bit unfortunate, and the scout just got some good shots on you, so I would have been looking for my scouts a bit there more, and instead of healing a demo man at the start, and I think you overhealed him a little bit, probably just stick on the soldiers a bit more, because the demo man's gonna be able to do his job pretty effectively from that position on the pack from pretty easily, and anyone extending to get him is probably going to die trading with him. And yeah, if that at all. So he's in a pretty safe position. You probably don't want to get on him. So right now you can buff your scout. It doesn't matter. You probably want to be buffing pretty aggressively. I know if you buff someone like that, you should head with them towards flank. So like, if that guy went back towards point, just walk with him a little bit, just so you give him a little bit of extra buff. It's going to only amount to like 10 HP, but you have the time, and as long as you're staying within range of your intended heal target, it's fine. And in general, you kind of want a long leash and chokes, just because if they end up stacking someone in to break this stalemate, or just kind of because they get enough pressure, you don't want to get forced. So you want to have enough time to react and get away. And when you're moving through chokes like this, your goal is to probably take it without Ubering, at least like get a little bit further in without Ubering, which means I imagine you guys are going off some kind of positioning thing, so you should be, and I don't think you are probably because your scouts haven't been getting aggressive enough buffs and your roamer really hasn't. So to kind of alleviate that, or mediate that a bit, you can kind of push flank after you buff really hard on choke, and just take them in and kind of spot out what's going on there. Maybe rustle the people out of position a bit and back up, walk up Banana, and then push through choke if it's kind of desirable to do so. If they're not really close to choke, there's not a whole lot of stickies there. You know that there isn't a soldier up top, and obviously the information is going to be a bit old, so you can't always go off of that, but it's probably the better way to do this since their mid lived. Huh. Did their mid live at mid? I know you died, so theirs must have died, so I guess it was even. But yeah, so just a minor thing. If you should be looking to take this without using a little bit. Like you want to be using towards the yard, or the Uber's just going to be worse. So in that vein of thought, you probably want to be a bit further back because you don't want to use, and you are looking to bait the heal beam a bit here, so kind of waz back and forth at like max range and move in and out, so the roamer, if there is one above, gets you want him to drop down because of like your medi beams moving a bit forward. You can kind of tell when that's happening, and then you're already backing out as he's dropping down just to ensure that kill. But it looks like you guys are just going to Uber straight away. But obviously you want to be, like, this is just bad. Like, there's no way this is going to be equal. Maybe you got their med really late at mid, so you're pushing off that advantage, but I think they still have it. And you get 2 or 3 people, but it's not really going to matter, they can wait for it. Looks like they're just going to go in. You might want to try to arrow for that guy, since he's going to be focused down anyway. You can kind of have the luxury of staying around a bit longer. And like, once your team gets used to you arrowing a lot, they're going to kind of jump in the same way every time, just so it's easier to hit those arrows. And that was a predictable jump in general, but it's not. It's kind of a minor thing. So they have Uber. At the very least, they have advantage. And what you guys are looking to do is push in, so you should be more actively... Okay, so they didn't have to use there. They're gonna get your demo, but you're gonna have enough Uber. So right now you see a scout dropping, I imagine it's for your demo. And you guys could probably afford to kite Big Door and probably pick him off while simultaneously avoiding the Uber coming through choke. Although the med just dropped, I think. No, he didn't. Alright, so this is a situation where you definitely could have probably made a Big Door. You would have dodged those rockets at the same time. That soldier would have been too far to really do anything. Like, the medic wasn't close enough to keep him Ubered again. So that's just kind of maximizing of what the situation is going on. So, because they're down a soldier, you probably want to go through choke, since it's generally a scout, less of a scout-friendly area, so just scout lead through there probably would have been better. Just because they're going to have less people to defend it. And see, here's a situation where you still need to be, like, max range. Like, you want to be moving around a lot and changing their range. And what I mean by max range or max leash is just, like, how long the medi beam is. So, how far away you can be from your heal target. And in general, since your pocket and your demo are looking to the right, you want to be looking left. Medic's a lot about management. It's really the only thing to the class. You know, there's not DM. To extent there's general movement and, you know, individual fight movement, but for the most part you're just managing stuff. And since you're not really concerned about aiming, you have the luxury of looking away from your heal target. As long as you're confident this situation is controlled, and right now the right side is pretty controlled. You saw people back out and the scouts pushing forward. You can take at least a couple seconds look to the left just to see if there's someone to jump you. But in general, you should be a bit further back because you don't want to get forced here, otherwise they're going to leapfrog back into you. You're going up this too close because your team needs ample time to clear the stickies right here, and if you happen to get pushed at this moment, you're going to have to use because everyone's going to get in. So you're lucky not to eat that damage from that pill. And yeah. See, someone came in, he probably went drop down, and as that demo peaked, he was making that call for him. You guys got a couple kills, so you should be looking to push right now. Probably want to go through choke just so you can get the health back. Now delay a bit. Should let your soldier go a bit further, and you shouldn't be this close to your demo. You don't need to be this close. Unless your soldier is communicating to you that he needs to get healed, then at that point you kind of move forward. But just like minor positioning mistakes there. And right now you should be buffing choke because I imagine they were really aggressive, or they were up top, and that's why your shoulder dropped down. So you had time to get to choke. As soon as you waste that guy's pill, you probably want to stop doing that. It's kind of the goal of Uber sawing people, just wasting some of their ammo. And you're lucky to have lived there. Stop healing your demo. The classes that are going to get in are going to get more than demo. While it's maximally efficient to stick on one person because you don't have to get to them and react to them needing heals and latency isn't involved, it's still probably better to put the heals on the right person instead of stick on them. There's some situations where if I make a mistake, I'll stick on someone just for the sake of maximizing heals and minimizing the effects of buff decay. But in this situation where I'd be looking to push right now, because they just crits, you want to be putting a ton of heals on the scout and the soldier. Probably the scout first, and you can afford to single Uber like the soldier, and the demo can just stay back. But for the most part, if you're looking to take it for free, or if they're close, see, they're not close, and you need to look to the right, because anything, since that soldier jumped away, the only threat that is going to come to you is from the right. There's actually a hiding spot in Banana that scouts can Boston Basher up to. So while you probably would have heard that, you might want to look towards there. You just don't want to end up using here. And it's your team's fault if they die. It's not your fault. Because they're far away, it should be known by your team that your Uber is going to be shit if it happens like it is right now. And that everyone just needs to force them out without getting you to use. So even dropping a player there isn't that bad of a deal because you can play aggressive and hold the chokes, and since they have crits, you know, if they push in, it's going to be pretty even, as long as you know where they are, so that's why you're playing aggressive. It's not a big deal.
Time has been added.
So you should go buff the right side right now. You're already disadvantaged. I think they didn't crits there. I mean, they killed you, so they shouldn't have been critting. I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention, but really the only thing you have right now is a defensive advantage. So just buffing actively, you can actually move along the rim of this point and pretty much get buffs out to everyone. Your roamer actually moved over here, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but... So right now you should arrow this pocket. Nos and I kind of have this communication where we kind of know to get arrowed, but arrowing at close range is about twice as effective as arrowing, or as just normal healing. And in this situation, I imagine they'd be looking to repush just because they got some good damage out. And even if they don't repush, you're going to have uber advantage anyway, so you're just looking to minimize your vulnerability right now by, I would probably arrow until everyone is healed up. And obviously you're going to be able to push out a bit quicker because you have a little bit of health and you have this pick advantage, well, more health. And in situations where you could probably even medium arrow, and that'd probably take him to full from where he was a second ago. And actually no, it wouldn't. Medium arrows do like 90, so it'd be enough for him to get this pack and he'd be full. And medium arrows do like, I don't know, something like almost 2.5 times normal heals. So just think about that. If your team's really good, that's probably what you're looking to do. It's probably not the case here, no offense, but not really the case anywhere, so yeah. But if you were really into this game, you'd probably be looking to do something like that more often. Because your Demoman and Soldier would be full health right now, and you'd be able to heal your NG from across the map, and you're heavy if he was weak, so... Since you have the Soldier pick, you should be looking to sack someone into them, because I don't really think you can push into them long enough. Like, they can delay long enough to get a crits and then force you anyway. So probably just looking to sack someone into them, and if their sack gets enough advantage, or enough done, then you can push into them. Probably could have held there, knowing that the demo was the last to peek and he just did his trap. But yeah, you can see how this Uber is ineffective, because they can play a way to force you, especially through a predictable door like that, and you playing so close to your team. They can force you for free. And there's not really a way to avoid that, aside from having everyone push together, push through an like awkward door, and play pretty far back. And in that situation, you just push them out, and they buy enough time to get a crit. So it's really still not that great. Like, a good team's never gonna be out of position. Like, just theory crafting. A good team's never gonna be out of position, unless there's something from the previous fight that lets you know that they are. Like, they've had to fall out a bad door, and you can obviously cut them off. A good team, given enough time, like giving the right amount of time, is always going to be in position to force you. With that, like the only, like, the worst possible cost for them is going to be sacking one player into you, and there's nothing you can do about that. So a lot of situations when it's likely that they're going to force you without sacking someone in, I would probably just sack. In those situations, I would favor to sack people in when you have a number advantage.
Time has been added.
So they probably have crits right about now. Wait, maybe their mid died. How's that possible? Yeah. Also, this guy in NG should have switched off. There's no point in staying on it. It doesn't really help you get out to second any quicker. I guess it'll be effective against his crits. I guess their med died. Maybe you guys picked him up when I was talking about random ass shit. So yeah, you have the sentry, which is kind of nice if they're pushing into you, but it's kind of on you guys to push right now. There's not really a whole lot you're going to be able to do. You can exchange and hope they push into mid, but that's about it. So in general, the sentry is just kind of garbage. You should just have the NG die, because the sentry is going to be enough to kind of deter them from pushing while he respawns. There's no reason for him to stay alive. Just have him go in. This is a situation where, oh, I thought your roamer's a bit weaker. Never mind. That's the effectiveness of this mid compared to holding 2. You have this sight line to flank, where it's a lot harder for a roamer to hit flank because they're going to be pushing into you on 2. So you can hit people from across the map for like 150 heals with arrows. So you can put up a lot of aggression on that side of the map with not a whole lot of penalty on this side because Demo Man. In fact, I'd probably drop down there a couple times just to see if you can surprise the flank, and then it could disposition the combo, which would allow you, when you're going back to the Uber like I mentioned earlier, or going back to your combo like I mentioned earlier, to kinda destroy. So this is dumb. You guys should have sacked your NG. It's stupid and disrespectful. I know you probably weren't meaning it, but it's just dumb that they had to push in to get anything going. So next time, sack your NG, and you could play the entire game like that. You probably wouldn't win, but in those situations where you have time to set up, you would. So you saw the scout or soldier fall to the right point, which means you had to leave a lot earlier than you did. Maybe you missed him, but yeah. Let's respawn. You guys probably... What the fuck? I don't really know how you guys are capping too. So yeah, I would say you guys are gonna lose second now. But yeah, like you're Ubering for the sake of Ubering and not for the results. If you can't get the medic, then you just want to use the threat of an Uber to kind of bully them out. And then eventually it's going to be Uber and just play really aggressively with the side that isn't sacking in, then go buff the side that sacks in and sack in, and use like the health advantage you gain from pushing up against their defensive position to kind of help your suicide get a little more better success. And that's the best way you're going to play this game pretty much. Yeah, just stay with this guy, but now you need to leave, because there's going to be a 2v1 against your soldier at last, and that's not going to be fun for him. There's another scout behind. The only person that died was Sal. And you're kind of lucky that Cringe didn't cap on you guys. Wish my HUD wasn't like bugging out and stuff. Like I could see exactly how much health the people you're healing. It flashes on and off. I'll have to try and fix that. Should be better maintaining buffs. Like you just let the demo decay to 170 for no reason. And because of that, you can't buff these scouts. This guy's like, you want to be healing whoever is peeking the choke. So yeah, you lost out on a lot of opportunities to heal properly there because you didn't, like you just let the demo decay. Now you need to watch the left. Like I was saying, if everyone's watching forward, you know, something's coming from your right. You just gotta like make sure you see what's going on the other side of the map. Now you don't want to Uber. You're already winning. They're not like they want you to Uber here because you're buying time for their spawns. Obviously, your pocket didn't kind of get Ubered immediately, so you got shit on, and then you ended up Ubering in a situation where you probably didn't need to, and bad things happened, and everyone was sad. But yeah, if they can solo onto you there and make you multi a lot, that's great. If their Uber is good, which I imagine it would be, because if you shouldn't have a bad Uber solo into a multi, so they kind of wanted that situation to delay for their spawns. If you guys are building a bit more aggressively, you could look to hold in either river or lobby, depending on where they're going. Your scouts would have to figure that out for you and probably push into them, since you guys had a little bit of a slower or earlier Uber, and it ended a lot earlier because you flashed a lot. So you had like a 20% advantage if you were building properly. A little bit more because they're obviously not going to build that great moving into last, or moving into 2. So you could have pushed off that a little bit. At least if they were far enough back, sack someone in off of your advantage, knowing that they'd be waiting for Uber anyway, and you can Uber delaying for a spawn. So this is a problem in general. A lot of mechs hold here, and it really creates a lot of room on the river side. We like to move around a bit more, and it's really... That's funny, actually. He almost killed you there, which is unfortunate, but my team moves around a bit more or Nels moves around a bit more, I guess, so there's always constant pressure. And if you look at our demo against Animus something, you can take a look at some of our holds that are really good, except we overextend a couple times, but yeah. I might just do some of my own demo reviews to kind of explain holds and shit, because it's harder to just talk about them. But yeah, I probably mention it every time at every last demo and scout and river with med behind soldier and roamer, pocket and soldier on balcony and shutter respectively, and just one scout main to prevent people getting in bottom right. And you control a lot more than this. And since you have advantage, there's no reason not to. And it kind of be argued there's more reason to be really aggressive when you don't have advantage, because you can build a little bit of time for yourself. Because if they're going to Uber into your aggression and you're doing it properly, they're going to have a really shitty Uber. So they don't want that, so they'll probably wait till you fuck up a little bit, which will probably buy you some time. So right now, you don't want to use, because, yeah, like you're 5v5 now. Like, okay, so the Uber wasn't that bad, but it didn't really do anything. I wouldn't count on something that is likely to result in, like a trade. That was just, I don't know, you should have left there, but, probably, like, crossed the rim to the bottle and been fine. But you don't want to do something that's probably going to do nothing, because on last, it's just like, if you're doing something that has a chance of failure, and doesn't really have a chance of succeeding, then that's shitty. Like, you know, you can do that on other points where, I don't know, the failure rate is higher than the success rate, but not on last. It's too risky.
Time has been added. Alert. Our control point has been
So yeah, and their med was just in a more defendable position too, so it's just, that Uber. And so they're gonna get it probably at like your 45, so you want to play in lobby and try to slow them down a bit, especially after getting this pick. You could even sack someone into them, maybe force them right about now since they probably have it. But instead you guys are running a heavy, it's kind of boring. They have a sniper. The sniper is going to be shit, because if they're pushing river right now, he's dead. And if in general, if they're going to push in, you don't need a sniper, because they're going to Uber anyway. Maybe their med died. Keep talking about... No, they didn't. They just took their time. Okay, you don't need to worry about the heavy ever again. Okay, now you do. They all wanted a sneaky. Huh. That's funny. Usually you want to put up more forward pressure than that by Ubering some other people, and the furthest person behind only needs to worry about water. Like the heavy only needs to worry about water. That situation, everyone else can push out, but I guess they got behind a lot. Which is in part because you didn't give the Uber to the people that were pushing forward, and in part because I didn't get to see the people getting into sneaky. So yeah, you don't want to be the oobsing here, or we're getting close to dying. Like, this doesn't do anything for your team, because everyone's weak. You get some kills. I don't know, that was good, but like... you ate a lot of spam at the beginning, and then Your scouts really need to be with you guys if you're hoping to push them out like that. It was their mistake to die. They should never die in a situation like that where it's just demo walking into them. But they definitely could have slowed you down a lot more and potentially gotten some kills if they were playing right. You don't need to be capping this. If you're already over behind point, you should probably stay there until it's capped, because this position right here is just garbage. Right now you could be arrowing both scouts, and then your pocket, and then your demo. Probably use 5 arrows in total and everyone be healed, and then that guy would get arrowed. I don't know, like, once you lose, it's probably not the best idea to do it while you're oobed, like, or while you have Uber, because you have the chance of getting jumped, or if you're close to it because you want to build Uber, but that situation is just like, holy shit, everyone's weak, and I can heal most of them with 1 arrow. Yeah, probably the better idea. If you're playing far back enough, your arrows are obviously going to be better, and you're not going to be able to get jumped anyway, so... But it's really on top of your team to just kind of get arrowed, so... Yeah. So give up on the soldier this week, because his mid's already over, until he gets a pack. And you should have been healing that scout more aggressively there instead, which would have changed things a lot. Because when you're on that scout for a long amount of time, you get to see a lot of things because he's playing pretty aggressive. And because you're with a scout, you're not really obligated to stick on him. You don't have to stay with him for a long time. So, you're staying with him, but he's kind of moving the same pace as you. So if a soldier gets on him, you're not like fucked because you're stuck with him. And he's obviously going to do a lot more with his health because he can dodge. And in general, as Bennick, why I told you not to heal that soldier is because you're looking to get people up to their like maximum efficiency. Demo men generally don't need to be healed. They're always going to be pretty much as effective as they are in most situations. Soldiers are shit below 150, more like 130 I guess. So I wouldn't heal them there because, again, you don't want to be healing people that die, because that's a lot of health lost because you weren't on someone that was going to live. And if they're in a position where they're going to die, it's likely that your extra health isn't going to help them. They're probably going to get overkilled anyway, so your health is just kind of shit on. And at the same time, even if you do like super heal them, they're still in that same position where they're going to die, especially if they're a soldier. So I would tend not to heal soldiers that are lower in HP. And then soldiers are really effective at like 260 plus, so keeping them up really buffed is really good. And then scouts are moderately effective at 125, bad at 1 or below 50, and really really good at like 165 to 185. So just a little like tip there. And you should have tagged that scout a bit earlier, and you only healed him like briefly. Just like a minor thing. Like he's probably decayed by now, and if he were trying to do something, he would want to be like fighting actively with a big buff. A little bit longer, and get him a little bit earlier, obviously. So yeah, heal your roamer a bit, just so he okay, I wouldn't have expected them to do this, because this is kind of not going to result in anything, except them dying. So I would have stayed around to heal my roamer a bit, just so he had the luxury of jumping to the pack without losing health. Like, if you heal him to 130, which you had time to, because he was only at 100, he could take the pack and then be 200 after like a 27 jump to the pack, if that makes sense. So this you don't want to be peeking at. You have to rely on your team to kind of feed you information. This is the one time when you're not looking for information when you're pushing. Medic is more of like a you manage the heals and you manage fights that are going on when you're already in, but other than that, other people have to call for you because they're going to be able to peek things without risking too much, and in general they're just going to know a lot more than you. So in the situation where you're the main caller, it sucks pretty much. It's not very good, and it's not easy to kind of figure out where they are. So I would try to encourage your other players to kind of communicate what's going on and figure out pushes, and you can just direct what's going on in the Ubers and after the Uber if it's not going well, who they need to fight, you know. because you generally know what damage is going on is because of the target you're healing. You see their damage numbers. And obviously you can manage health. Tell someone to back up a bit so you can buff them up so the fight's a lot better a couple seconds from now. Stuff like that. You're just like microing the fight, but you're not really, you don't have the big picture as the medics, so even though a lot of people think medics like synonymous with like the main caller, it's probably one of the worst positions for it. So yeah, this position is really poor. You really have to be conscious, like again you're looking towards your heal target, you have to be conscious about up top there and the lower left door. So that entire time I would just be confident that my demo would stick the door properly, the shower door, and head away from it and just look up top and towards the lower left door. So this Uber is pretty shitty, and they're defending too, so you need to get back to that right now. Just go with your scout. This pocket's, like, he's not gonna live getting jumped like that, being far away from you from so long. And your scout's gonna need help fighting Cringe, who was back there. And there, like, you don't want to cap, dude. Like, look how hard you guys were winning. If you had lived and you were healing your demo and he lived because you were behind him, you'd have advantage and you'd have 4 up on them. Or sorry, it'd be a 5v4. I mean, granted you'd be out positioning, but the rest of their team could kind of work with that. Like, you could have backed up water, is what I'm saying. Instead, it's just like sloppy. Oh, everyone get on the point. Hope it works, kind of shit, and it's just kind of embarrassing. You never want to play like that. The only good part about this game is like showing some finesse, basically showing some style. Like it's like if you're just going for the W, you're playing it wrong. Like it's just dumb. If you're not showing off like some kind of skill that you're better than the rest of the team, like you're executing really well, then and you're not playing for fun or something, then it's not a good idea. So I don't know. I just wouldn't go for W's. And like that's kind of a oh, let's just win kind of mindset, you know. Just rushing on the point early. And then not securing 2, obviously, before that. Stay with him, dude. Okay, well I wouldn't expect your other scout and demo to die there, but if he's gonna push in and there's other people doing damage, then he can kill a lot of people. If it goes well. And if he plays properly, he can drag them away from you or kill the guy getting on you as you're leaving if it's not going really well really quickly. So they use the oobs and you guys are pretty fine. Jump a lot, don't jump a lot. You only want to jump to get on things or to like bunny hop. Since no one knows how to bunny hop, well, don't bunny hop. So just don't jump unless you need to jump on things. Because that cues a lot of aggression by people. Like if someone sees a medic jumping, they're free. And then generally a lot of good players won't shoot the medic because 24 health per second is shit. But if they can get 2 shots on them and like guarantee kill him with ease, then they'll take it, you know? So yeah, you don't need 2 off classes when you're holding. Like in general, I think on this class it's better to have pretty much standard classes all the time. But you don't need 2 when you have Uber. You're just gonna slow down your push into 2 a lot and mitigate your good hold, and it's not hard to hold with just a heavy or just a gun. It's not hard to hold with 6 standard classes either, so. Make sure he gets to 300 before you stop healing him. So they're gonna be pushing off of that demo damage. And they have number advantage right now. But you have a little bit of bigger Uber. Right now you're just looking to buff other people. Get to your heavy right now. Because the demo man can exist at this HP, but your heavy really needs to be 450 to be useful. So he shouldn't be fucking off in river, but yeah. So they're looking pretty good right now. Another reason why all classes are kind of shitty on last is because you run into this situation where you can't defend against a sniper because you're not putting up a lot of pressure. And yeah. It's one long fucking game. Or first 2 rounds at least. So you didn't need to eat that sticky that you saw on the wall. Right now. Yeah, like at the beginning of the fight was so bad, your soldier just took so much damage that it was like game. Oh yeah, you have needles. I'd use a crossbow. It's kind of better in pretty much 9 out of 10. The only time needles are better than the crossbows is if someone's chasing you at close range. And like, you don't have time, you wouldn't have the time to reload like 4 crossbows or 3 crossbows.
The control point is being captured.
So they lived, and if there's a 4 time on cap there, you can pretty much assume that they're crossing up top because otherwise they would already be in lobby. Okay, they're just slow. So you could have taken lobby at the beginning is what I was saying, and I would have moved more towards a river hold like we do after the 4 times. That just faded briefly. Right now you should stay out, because any damage you can direct towards you is beneficial here. So like, you know, you dodged a rocket and you ate one more than you should have. Well, you basically consumed 2 rockets from that soldier, but if you kind of dodge the side, surf the first rocket and kind of distract a lot, you're doing a lot more of a favor to your team than going in spawn, because in spawn doesn't help anyone defend like kills and shit. You're not concerned with living at that point, you're trying to prevent losing. So if the last push is going really sour like that, you have to make it attractive for other people to shoot you, but not easy enough for them to hit you all the time and in a position where you can surf away. So that's why going forward there would have been a more favorable, because obviously you'd probably surprise him a little bit, dodge a couple rockets there, and then be in a better position to surf, and obviously take his view away from fighting classes and separate you from the scouts so you're not taking the same damage, or the soldier there, whoever it was. Yeah, I'm gonna call this on half because I think I went over a lot of things. I don't know, I'm kind of tired of doing really long ones because I repeat myself a lot. So right now you shouldn't be going up left because your demo's on the right, so this is just a lack of strategy in general from your team. You don't really have a good set plan. You can't afford to have heavy, or like everyone splitting like that. It's just not going to work out. You're not going to be able to heal everyone. And they're not good. Like, splitting them doesn't really help. Like, it's not really going to give you any sort of advantage, having different angles to shoot in. So I guess you guys killed their med because you're going crits, otherwise... And it's still fine to go crits, because you'll probably get it for last, but it looks like you guys killed their med, because they'd probably be in if you didn't. So you're looking to push with crits, which means you need to buff your scouts really aggressively right now. And hopefully, like I was saying before, this isn't like a med-directed team, because you can't afford to call a crits blind, and every med crits is blind. Like every crits the med calls is blind. They don't know what's going on. So you need to focus on buffing your scouts right now. It's more important than building really aggressively. because they need to figure out where everyone is around like 70%, and then you need to get to that door and crits immediately, so you have enough time to build it back if it goes poorly. So you can defend too. Just delay them a little bit and build it back, basically. So the sooner it crits, the more easy it is to kind of use it again at 2. That's important with crits, is just using it off cooldown. So it looks like they might have crits as well, so I'd be a little wary about that. In this situation, you might have looked at crits your soldier there just so he could get there quicker, and in general I expected them to spread out a bit more, and it's a bit harder for the demo to hit that, but that was a good crits regardless, but I think it's mostly because they pushed into you.
Time has been added.
So that's unfortunate. Obviously you don't want to do that. I don't know why you guys are that far back, because you picked the med with it, didn't you?
Ready to charge.
I guess not. Go big door right now. By the time you get there, you'll have it, and you can defend mid.
Being captured.
Even though your demo died, you can kind of disrupt them with this crits. And if they're pushing into you, want to go into them right now. You want to do that before they can stick this door. Since it's stick, just go with the lower right, or when he dead there. But you want to use this, because you probably could have had it again by the time they capped 2, if you had used it earlier at mid. Yeah, so right now this is obviously not the best. It's hard for soldiers to hit rockets here. There's a lot of shit to dodge, and then there's 3 elevations. But you get their pocket and they just go. That's fortunate. They still have the oobs though. I'd look for them to push pretty soon. Just waiting a little bit for their spawns. Actually, I guess they could wait since you have crits, but I don't know. If I were them, I'd push sooner. Yeah, they waited a little bit for their spawns, but I don't think they're actually there. You guys got crits, so you need to use it on the soldiers so they can prevent people from getting in through main. Yeah, just switch it between soldiers and scouts here, because Doman have trouble kind of fighting in this chaotic situation, and there's a lot of wasted kind of crits with the demo. He's gonna miss a lot, and then it takes a long time for him to fire in general, and it might not be loaded. So I'd switch between scout and soldier just because they're a bit more reliable. You should have put someone on the point there in mid, just because this fight's going on so long that they couldn't keep doing this. If you were obviously more at choke, that would have been better, but they couldn't keep doing this if you had someone capping mid. But yeah, you just confused that with like their aggression. They were just trying to get you, and you were perfectly fine where you were at choke. You could even arrowed from there if you really wanted to, but pretty much just people going in and out for heals would have been better there. As long as you had someone on cap, you could be confident that even though they were gaining ground, you'd be able to, like, mid cap's really fast, you'd be able to cap behind them, so you didn't need to get into them really aggressively like that.
Time has been added.
Is that half? Yeah. So you guys had a pretty good crits. You did pretty decently with crits actually, but I'm gonna call that for this one. Went over a lot of stuff, a lot of really random stuff, minor shit, mechanical stuff, and as a team, like, I don't know. Like all the use of all classes, I can't really recommend much about that. It's not really skilled. You know, you can't fuck it up really. You know, double all class at last is a little excessive. And then in general, like your push isn't a last. I actually don't think you pushed in the last that much. Let's see what the round you got. And yeah, just like minor things about why you're Ubering. You just kind of Ubered for off of nothing really a lot, which gave them a better Uber. And yeah, I need to buff your flank a bit more. Your flank needs to be calling things out, and then you need to use that kind of information as an opening to sack someone in if it's Uber v Uber or something, because a lot of times you were struggling to really have effective Uber v Ubers. So you need to find a way to do enough damage with everyone else and sack someone really healthy in, and that'll buy you enough time to defend chokes aggressively. Like, you can, like, what they did to you when you pushed them to 2 and they soloed into your multi-Uber, like, it doesn't matter that you're down people if you have position on the choke, because it'll just multi, and you'll win the Uber, and just back up, and then down man sticks you off, so you don't really have to worry about fucking up suicides if you're in the right position kind of thing. You're not punished for being down a player. But just make sure the suicides are really effective so they work more often. Anyway, yeah. Good games. A good example of that suicide thing is what we did against Animus. I still don't remember their name. Yeah, we played really, really well that match. There wouldn't have been a lot anyone could have done to a couple of those pushes, because they were just, like, individually, I think we had really bad aim that game, but as a team, it was just really good, so yeah. Anyway, good games.